What's going on, boxing fans? Julian Williams here at the distance. Got a video for you guys today. This one is prediction for this upcoming bout between Froch and Glen Johnson for I believe it's for the WBC Super Middleweight Championship for the Super 6 Super Middleweight Classic. Matchup puts together, I believe, the champion Froch and the challenger Glen Johnson. And it's also for the semifinals, which is going to lead to a big championship bout against Andre Ward, more than likely later this year. So, getting into the matchup, both fighters coming off of victories back in November. Glen Johnson, the late knockout over Alan Green, and Froch with the decision victory over Arthur Abraham, which leads to this bout. Overall, this is a very interesting and intriguing bout. Probably one of the, to me, I think maybe one of the most intriguing in the tournament other than the final. To be honest with you guys, when Ward fought Abraham, for some reason I just knew that Ward was going to go in and beat Abraham and pretty much just walk over him, just because of the style involved, just Ward's style. But overall, Froch has been some great bouts. I'm seeing a bit of progression from him as a fighter. In the tournament, he's been fighting he's fighting different kinds of fighters, and the different style matchups I think is making him much better as a fighter. He went in, he faced a mover like a Andre Durrell in a very close match, October 18th, 2009. And I had Durrell winning that fight, but just overall. But overall, I just thought, it's one of those fights that could have gone either way. He went in against Mikkel Kessler. Mikkel Kessler, that's one of the fights that kind of made me more of a fan. It was, that 12th round was absolutely insane. Another good matchup, another good, it's another good bout. And overall, the victory over Arthur Abraham, pretty much in a way kind of solidified a spot to me, a spot in me as a fan, because like I've been seeing, like I'll be honest, the first time I saw Froch fight was against Jean Pascal about 2 years ago, November of 2008. That's the first time I saw him fight. I saw him on a YouTube video, and I saw the fight with Jermaine Taylor, and between the difference between April 24th of 2009 and now is that now Froch has been facing different opponents, and it's making him become better, which brings us to Glen Johnson. Glen Johnson, is a fighter who has seen everything in the ring. He's fought a who's who of fighters. He's pretty much faced everybody. He fought Tavoris Cloud, Chad Dawson, Bernard Hopkins back in '97. He's faced Clinton Woods. He's faced Antonio Tarver, Roy Jones. And that's just naming a few. He's much better than the journeyman. And people call him a journeyman, but he's much better than the journeyman that he's facing. If you look at the one fight, I did predict Yusuf Mack to beat him. Believe it or not, and I can't believe I predicted that. I'm sure Tavoris Cloud may run over Yusuf Mack, and I got a prediction for that one coming soon. But Glen Johnson is a fighter that's done it all, and pretty much with whoever he fights, he raises up that level of opposition. He makes the talent rise up a level. So the last fight that he just clearly lost was the second fight against Chad Dawson. And Chad Dawson, that one didn't take many risks. And this one, Froch is going to take risks. There's going to be openings for to hit Froch, definitely. So let's get into the fight, to the bout, which is taking place on June the 4th. For Froch to win this match, Froch pretty much going to have to keep Johnson at the end of his jab, but also work behind the jab. Work behind the jab and throw combinations following it. Use movement to set up his offense, and also look for the uppercut. Look for the uppercut inside. Uppercut inside, and maybe even go to the body. Even though the last fight against Alan Green, he was able to make the 168-pound weight limit. He was able to make the 168 weight limit. We've all debated. I debated in my last Glen Johnson prediction whether or not he could make that 168 limit. He was able to make because he had a dietitian and nutritionist. But at 41, 42 years old, when you go down in weight, what you want to do is you want to test the fire to the body. You want to see if there's going to be extra, maybe some extra water, following the match, because because sometimes when those fires make weight, they go in and drink a bunch of water, and getting hit, to the body when you have a lot of water in your stomach, hurts like hell. But maybe I think that Carl Froch does want to go to the body, but he wants to go to the body occasionally. If the fight's inside, he wants to look for that uppercut to the body. Carl Froch does very well at sneaking in his right uppercut inside. He just does it very. He just does it very well. Sometimes he uses the jab, or sometimes a left hook. Sometimes a left hook and then right uppercut follows it up. That's pretty much what Carl Froch does best. Carl Froch has shown interchangeability and versatility as a boxer. He's shown the ability to box against a stationary fighter like Arthur Abraham, who I think prepared for him to fight with him. And he was able to face a mover and chase down the mover, and Andre Durrell, able to chase him down and kind of try to close the gap. In this one, he does not want to fight the center of the ring. Center of the ring, that's where Glen Johnson kind of has you. That's pretty much Glen Johnson's type of fight when it's in the center of the ring. And it is what it is, but I think he wants to move and punch on the move, and and occasionally look for that left hook, right uppercut, or left jab, right uppercut. He does have a very elongated left jab, and he can use it to set up his shots. He can use it to set up his shots. He can use it to keep Johnson outside. But what he doesn't want to do is he doesn't want to stand and fight with Glen Johnson, because Glen Johnson on the inside is, could be dangerous for him. He could be dangerous, especially because Carl Froch has some flaws, and that's going to Glen Johnson. And for Glen Johnson to win this fight, Glen Johnson pretty much has to expose pretty much the flaws of Carl Froch. One thing I've always said about Carl Froch, he does not tuck his chin. His chin's straight up in the air. He does keep one of his hands low, and sometimes it's to lure his opponents in. But against the Glen Johnson, that's not going to work. He wants to get, I think it's his right arm. He wants to bring it up much higher than he normally does. He wants to bring it up much higher because Glen Johnson throws very quick hooks. He throws quick hooks inside. He has a good left jab, a very authoritative left jab, and he uses it to set up, and he gets inside, and he throws very quick hooks. And in this fight, he wants to throw, he wants that center of the ring elongated jab, and and he doesn't really have to fight at the center of the ring. He can, he can move an opponent back and come forward and land his shots when he wants, and sometimes at will if he sees the openings. In this one against Carl Froch, when Carl Froch misses his shots, he's wide open, and he's wide open to hooks. The counter right hook is going to be the shot that does it for Glen Johnson. The counter right hook. The counter right hook, due to the fact that when he misses with his jab, he's way off. He's way off. And the thing with Froch is like he just leaves himself open when he misses his shots. He doesn't bring his hand back, to protect himself. He doesn't protect himself at all times. Now he does have a good chin, but he was down against Jermaine Taylor, and Jermaine Taylor was able to catch him, with a good combination. And Glen Johnson throws very good combinations, He's quite accurate if he, off when he sets his shots up off the counter, he's very accurate. And against the Glen Johnson, and he does, and I'll admit, Froch doesn't. Sometimes, from time to time, he does make the same mistakes, like he did against Taylor. And sometimes he gets hit with shots that he shouldn't even be hit with. And Glen Johnson, in this one, does not want to throw single shots. Just combinations work. Combinations work. And anything can set up his combinations. He can set up his combinations off of his jab, or he can set up his combinations, off of a counter. Counter, follow up the shots, and pretty much try to keep Froch on the defensive. Take advantage of the fact that if Froch is on the defensive, Froch sometimes will not throw back. Well, he more likely wouldn't be able to throw back just because of how quick the hooks from Glen Johnson are, and even look to sneak in the short right hand inside. Look to sneak that in, and Glen Johnson could very well win this fight. As I just mentioned in the analysis, the fight is very much winnable for both opponents. Carl Froch could basically just win this fight if he boxes well, if he's able to. I think if he's able to move well and keep Johnson on the outside, and not let Johnson inside, not let Johnson, get off on offense, then Carl Froch could very well win this fight. But Carl Froch has these tendencies to leave himself open. He leaves himself open. He has many flaws. Glen Johnson's pretty much done it all in the ring, and seen it all in the ring. So I think that gives Glen Johnson the advantage in this fight. As much as I like Carl Froch, I'm going to go with Glen Johnson in this fight by unanimous decision. So anyway, guys, that was The Distance. Thanks for watching. Peace.